Alright, at this point I have unlocked all 3 generators, so you can see I have the water, lightning, and fire generators unlocked on my map, and that means our next objective is to head to the X. However, there is a bunch of optional stuff we can get along the way, so I'm going to actually take this long path to get back and collect things along the way, in particular a piece of heart. Now, if you are missing one of the generators, you can either refer to earlier in my wonderful video, or you can just use your dowsing option to find the one you're missing. And like I said, because it marks it on the map, you should be able to see which ones you have and which ones you're missing, since I just showed my map a little bit ago. So you can just head to those locations and again refer to earlier in the video. But if you are missing one of them, you can get the dowsing option by going to the robot that is on the X on the map, and you speak with him once you use the time shift stone, and he will give you the option to douse for the generators. So if you have unlocked all the generators like I have, then our next objective is just to head to Lanayru Mining Facility. So that's all we have to do. Optionally, though, you can hang out with me. I'm going to get some bugs, I'm going to get some pieces of heart, and I'm going to get all the chests in the sky, and then I'm going to upgrade a bunch of materials in Gondo's scrap shop in Skyloft. Some of those things are super useful for the upcoming dungeon, and we're going to complete a whole nother heart container. So those are some good things, so stick around for the rest of this video. Otherwise, you can skip to the end of the video where I enter Lanayru Mining Facility. So it's up to you. Stick around with me, or skip to the end of this video. Now, if you look at your map, you'll see there's actually this, like, windy trail that leads back here, and in the far top right corner of the map, and there's also this path that is on the ground that leads over to it. So I placed some beacons there so that I can see where I can walk. So I'm running along it, and there's a cracked wall along the side. So I'm actually going to roll a bomb over there, and it's fine because it's on top of the sand and stuff, and we're not going to sink here. So blow this up, and this will allow us to access this tunnel. Dun dun dun. Now this area has a whole bunch of yellow chews along the way, so just be warned about that. They're often hanging from the ceiling, so just be prepared that they're going to fall down on you. Now you can smack them and just wait for a gap in their attacks. The fastest way to kill them is actually to use several horizontal sword slashes, so just slash, 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 slash. Even when they're separating and stuff, you can kill them very quickly. Now otherwise, the other alternative for that is to use bombs, probably is the easiest way to take care of them. So up ahead we have a great big yellow chew, so don't get too far forward, but you can blow this up. And I think generally speaking, when you use bombs, they generally don't ever drop treasure. I think they only will drop treasure if you don't use bombs. So if you use that method to defeat them, that means that you will not get chew jelly, I'm pretty sure. But I'm not 100% sure about that. Anyways, go ahead and open the nearby chest to get a piece of heart. And if you've been following along with me, this should be your 7th one total. Now, this is actually great because we're about to go back to the sky and get a whole bunch of the goddess cubes we've been unlocking so far in Lanayru Desert, and one of those leads to a piece of heart as well, which will give us 8 total pieces of heart if you've been following along with me. And that means that we get 1 whole heart container right before the Lanayru Mining Facility, which is awesome. Now, if you look along the rest of the path, it actually leads to a goddess cube, but there are targets on the walls and a lot of sand. Now, we can't do anything with those targets at the moment, but if you've played other Zelda games, you probably know what this signifies. You want to work your way backwards. We can't actually do anything with that for now. So with heart piece in hand, we're going back over here. And again, the reason I went here instead of waiting and getting the piece of heart and the goddess cube at the same time is because I want that whole extra heart container for the next dungeon. At this point, we're just working our way back to Desert North, and I'm just following along the beacons and stuff like that. Now, before we continue onwards, there's actually a quick farming thing we can do. This area in the far north is the best place in the game to get tumbleweeds. Now, how tumbleweeds work is they actually appear like after... I'm not entirely sure if turning around is necessarily required, but what I find works really good is if I Z-target back and forth, and then you start walking away from a particular point. When you walk through, it's almost like there's little, say, pools of water on the ground, so to speak. And when you walk through the pool of water, as long as you're looking away from the area you just came from, then a tumbleweed will appear. So this area to the north, there's like 3 or 4 of these like pools of water, so to speak, that if you walk through, then a tumbleweed will appear. And how this works is it's dependent on your camera angle. So here I just turned around, so I turned around completely. So I'm just turning around 180 degrees and then running for it and then turning back around and the tumbleweed will appear. So it actually just appeared behind me, so if I waited a little bit, it would have come at me. And I find that, honestly, running through here, you can go north and south or whatever, or east and west. I find that going diagonally through this area works the best. And it does require movement. If you just stand in place and just look back and forth, it doesn't work. So you run through here, turn around, and a tumbleweed will be there. So in order to get all of the upgrades in the game from Gondo, it requires 13 tumbleweeds. And this is assuming you're only getting 1 of each of the bomb bags or whatever. You know, you could get multiple, like I've explained earlier in the walkthrough. You could technically fill up your entire inventory with bomb bags and stuff like that. So you could get relatively excessive, and so that would require more tumbleweeds. But we only need 13 of them total, so I'm just going to keep running back and forth here. And like I say, going diagonally is, I feel like, the best way to go. So you can go towards the sand and stuff, but it's kind of risky. And I practice this a lot. I think that the best a route to take that gives you the most room to catch the tumbleweeds is like from the bird statue to the top right corner, like just to the right of the lightning entrance. And I think that's the safest places to go because it's the least likely to destroy your tumbleweeds when they go past. Anyway, that's what I'm going to do for the next little bit. You can always press 1 and then go to the next screen to see all your treasures and stuff, so you can see how many tumbleweeds you currently have. So I'm looking to get 13. You don't have to do this. This is totally optional just for upgrades. But yeah, this is definitely the best place to get them, and because we're about to head to the sky to get a bunch of upgrades, I feel like it makes sense to just do all the tumbleweed stuff right now, and then we'll never need any more for the rest of the entire game. I guess just to clarify, some of the upgrades I'm about to get in the sky require some tumbleweeds, so because I need some anyways, I'm just going to get all the ones we're going to need for the rest of the game, and that's why I'm doing it right now. So at long last, I checked my status again, and I apparently had been collected a few more tumbleweeds than I was expecting, because I currently have 19. Whoops! I overshot it just a little bit. Well, that's all the goodies we can get in Lanayru Desert for now. You know what that means, right? To the sky! Alright, we now have 3 different goddess cubes we can get here, or goddess chests, I should say, here in the sky. So I'm going to get them in a variety of different orders. The first one I'm going to get is on the outer side of Volcano Island, as I so lovingly call it. And this particular goddess chest was unlocked by the goddess cube that was in the area with the Ampylus that were like in the earlier portions of Lanayru Desert. Like right after we got the hook beetle, there's this little area like kind of in the bottom left corner of the map, and that's where this one is located. So get that goddess cube, and that leads to this guy. This is a heart medal. Now heart medals are interesting because what they do is they make it so that hearts appear more often. But more interesting than that is, so you can have a bunch of these in your inventory, and it makes it so enemies drop a lot of hearts. However, what's more interesting than that is it makes it so that enemies drop hearts in hero mode. Defaultly in hero mode, there are no heart flowers, and enemies do not drop recovery hearts either. So this is the only way in the game to make that happen if you're playing in hero mode. This next goddess chest is just on top of Beetle's Island in the north corner, and it is pretty high up on the map, so I do like to flap on my way over there and get this one first before getting the one just to the right, because you can always dive down. It's harder to flap up, I guess. It just takes a little more energy, so I like to flap on my way to it. And this leads to a piece of heart. Now, if you've been following along with me so far, then this will be our 8th piece of heart total, which is awesome. And that also means, because it's another set of 4, we increase our life by 1 whole heart, just in time for the temple, which is sweet. The related goddess cube for this is just outside the Temple of Time. It was right after we got our map updated by that robot in the Temple of Time area. And so after you do that, you go across these minecarts across this little gap, and there's a goddess cube there on the left. So I would be really surprised if anybody didn't get this. It's just right in your... unless you're avoiding goddess cubes entirely. But anyways, that was what led to this goddess chest. So I totally missed this island, but this is Bomb Island, and this next one leads to 100 rupees. And the related chest for this is just at the very beginning of Lanayru Mine, actually. When you first dive down into Lanayru the very first time, then just behind that platform we start out on is a goddess cube. And if you missed that, then you can always just warp back to that desert entrance. Unfortunately, if you did not get that bird statue and didn't activate it, the only way to get... there's 2 ways to get back there, actually. You can go all the way back through the Lanayru Desert. You go to warp to Lanayru Desert South, and then go back through Lanayru Mines to get that goddess cube. Otherwise, you can wait till later. Eventually, we have another way to get back to Desert Entrance, actually. But that is going to be way later in the game, so it's up to you to decide what you want to do. You can wait for that option, that is quite a bit later. And it's only 100 rupees, so it's not like super pivotal to get it absolutely right now. Anyways, we're going on to Skyloft to get a bunch of upgrades now. And at this point, I should explain something a little bit odd. It probably doesn't make too much of a difference, but I do feel like I should explain. It's also a sad story. So I recorded all the gameplay first, and then I basically finished the game. I was like a little bit past Fire Sanctuary, and then I realized that half of my recordings were broken. And what happened is all the audio was completely screwed up on it. It's a long story what happened. Anyway, suffice to say, half of my videos were unusable. So, just for the first part of the game. So, I was really bummed, and it was everything up until about Lanayru Mining Facility. So, what you're watching right now is actually a second playthrough, where I started recording just the first half of the game. And then the remaining videos are actually from my first playthrough for, halfway, not a little bit earlier than halfway through the game, up until the rest of it. So, this video is actually before, it was like when I played back through again. I was being a little more efficient with everything. On my first playthrough, I was a little bit more like wandering around, and I got a little bit more treasure and stuff like that, so that's one of the only differences. Back when we were in Farron, I recommended that people farm a bunch of hornet larvae. We needed 4 to get all of the upgrades in the game, and 2 of them are here for the speed beetle. Now, the speed beetle allows you to press A when you're not currently holding something, and the beetle moves very quickly. It's not necessary at all, it just is nice. It's just a quality of life upgrade. But after that, we get the tough beetle, which allows you to go even further and for longer distances, I think, too. See, I don't have a goddess plume in this video, which is sad. So the other thing you want to upgrade is probably the wooden shield. This will allows it to become the reinforced shield, I think it is, or brace shield, that's what it is. The reinforced is the iron one. So the brace shield is a little bit more awesome, it just has a little more durability. You don't have to do this, and one quick note about that is whenever you upgrade your equipment, it also repairs the durability on your shields. So this shield is a little bit damaged, but it doesn't matter because we're upgrading it anyway. Finally, the lowest priority of items we can upgrade is the bomb bag, and this is actually pretty sweet. Like I've been saying, the bombs are just awesome for this whole region, and so having more bombs that you can carry at once is really cool, because you can just be a little more aggressive with it, and you can use a lot of them. So bombs are very useful in Lanayru Mining Facility, so I'm going to actually upgrade this twice. I'm going to use this bomb bag for a majority of the game, actually, so it's really handy for me to have this many bombs. I figure most of you are probably able to get the first upgrade. It does require a bluebird feather, which is a little bit odd, but if you're on the lookout for bluebirds, you probably have at least one bluebird feather. I think in this particular playthrough, again, this is my second playthrough, then I got a couple bird feathers just from chests as well, so that's a little bit different. In my first playthrough, I think I even caught a bunch of bluebirds ahead of time, but you'll notice that I also have just the right amount of chew jelly from all those yellow chews I've been killing, which is awesome. So yeah, large bomb bag, which is awesome. And as I've explained before, you can actually purchase multiple seed satchels and bomb bags and stuff from Rupin here in the bazaar, and you can upgrade all of those and put all of those in your inventory. As long as you have enough slots, you can actually have as much as you want. So if there's a particular type of item that you like, if you really, really like the slingshot, or you really, really like bombs, you could technically get a whole bunch of these items and stock up your adventure pouch slots with them, and just make that one particular type of item really good. The lowest priority item that you could potentially upgrade is the small seed satchel, and this does require primarily monster claws are gotten from the keys. You can get them here in the waterfall cave here up on Skyloft, but otherwise the bokoblins are the ones that drop the ornamental skulls. So if you just run back and forth killing bokoblins, you'll probably get some ornamental skulls eventually. So that's the main thing that requires that we are currently lacking. And most likely most of you don't have this unless you specifically went out of your way to kill those enemies. The only other thing you could potentially do before we leave is you could go to Petrice, the item check chick. It's like a tongue twister. You could go to her and you could swap out items. In particular, for the heart metal, might be kind of helpful if you are struggling with some of the enemies in particular. When I dive off of things, I like to bonk my bird into stuff, so I was doing that there for this recording. Anyways, so you could go get the heart metal if you want to. There's not really super anything else you could get. I think that, generally speaking, bottles are more beneficial, in particular having fairies, although at this point we're starting to get to the point where fairies aren't super beneficial because they only restore 6 hearts. They heal you automatically, but they only restore 6 hearts, so we're starting to get enough hearts where it might be more worthwhile to start getting heart potions from Love, the potion shop lady. And you can also speak with her husband, Birdie, who is right next to her, like swirling that vat of potion, and you can upgrade, I think, just to Potion Plus. Heart Potion Plus would be what would give you the most number of hearts early on. I think the first tier only gives you like 6 hearts or something like that, or 8 hearts. So you could upgrade it if you want to, although, you know, again, if you're that low on health, then you're almost dead anyways, so like, I think fairies are almost fine at that point. We're getting to that point where it's almost borderline which one matters. That's all the stuff we had to do in Skyloft, so return to Lanayru, and at long last you can use the generator. So go ahead and use the time shift stone. You can deal with the technoblins if you want to. It doesn't really matter too much. Once you've activated all the different generators, you can note their location on the map. Look at the generator, how it has these different rings and stuff. Our goal is to press in the various generator nodes in the correct location. So water was to the far left, fire was to the far bottom right, and lightning was just straight north. I think this is a really neat concept. It's like, I wonder if the ground itself, like all these walls or whatever, are like conduits for the power that is coming from the generators somehow. Although the walls are all broken down, so I'm not really sure how that works. But regardless, that is the solution to the puzzle, is the physical location of the nodes determines where you place them on the generator. And by the way, one of the ways that you know that is the solution to the puzzle is if you speak with the robot, if you're confused about what to do here, it will just blatantly tell you that's how you solve the puzzle. Or it gives you a clue. It's like, if you're not sure what to do, then just look at your map, and that's how you know how to do this. Alright, so that is how you uncover Lanayru Mining Facility. So we're actually going to do that here in a little bit. You can sit on the stool here to get a bunch of health. When you're finally ready, just go ahead and enter the dungeon. So that is it for this video, folks. Join me for the next one where we will tackle Lanayru Mining Facility at long last. So you avoid that. Although he's already like doing his little spinny thing for a long time. Come on, come on. What? Really? Dude, are you kidding me? Look how many spins he's doing. Dude, are you kidding me? How do you even...